Vesa with Superior Sport Shop. We're here to demonstrate and explain how to get onto your stand-up paddleboard for the first time.
All right, so we got this great big stand-up paddleboard and you're trying to move it around. The best way to treat this thing and move it around is almost pretend it's like a suitcase. Most of them will have a handle cut out in the middle, either a pull-out handle or an insert. Grab it, kind of hold it up to your side and pretend it's a suitcase. Now it's time to get down to business.
When you're starting out, you want to be in a nice, safe body of water. You want to hopefully be kind of in a sandy area where it's kind of safe, not too rocky. So you're going to find the handle that's typically in the middle of the SUP, and the first thing you want to do is kind of hold the board with your hands, kind of keep it steady, and mount the board on your knees. And kind of, you'll be 90 degrees at first, then you kind of rotate towards the nose of the board, regain your balance, and then slowly you can start by putting one foot down, and then the next, and then try stand up. And this is very basic how to get up, standing up on your paddleboard. Now from this position, there's a couple different stances that you might use for when you're paddling around the lake. The first one is the one we stood up with. It's called the parallel stance, where both feet are facing forward and you're 90 degrees to the rails of the board. You're facing forward, both feet forward. This is going to be a real nice stable position. It's probably 90% of the time you're going to use this stance when you're paddling around on the lakes in the flat water. And it's most people are going to keep this way. The next stance that we can use is called the modified surf stance, where this is, you basically take your back foot and slightly put it back behind you. So your feet aren't parallel anymore, they're staggered just slightly. And this will allow you to actually start doing some weight transfer back and forth on the board. It will help you get comfortable moving around the board as you're paddling. And in some different situations, you may need to walk around the board, kind of reposition yourself, and this will be a good way to kind of keep your balance through all those situations. Now the last stance we're going to talk about is the modified surf stance. Now this is typically not used in flat water. Some people paddle with it, they can, but it's more intended for actually surfing waves. So if you're out in Lake Superior and you're catching those waves, this is the stance that you're going to want to use. This will look like the traditional surfing stance with one foot way back near the tail and one kind of near the center of the board. And what this allows you to do is basically change your weight transfer real easy back and forth on the board. So if you're on the wave, and you need to kind of speed up, you're going to lean forward and you're going to get the tail of the board out of the water and you actually accelerate down the wave face. And now if you need to kind of slow down, you're going too fast, you actually lean back a little and you're going to kind of set that tail down. So it's balancing that weight transfer back and forth is actually how you stay riding on the wave. So that's a little more advanced than what most people will do in the flat water, but this stance can also be used when you're doing a real fast turn. So the first stroke we're going to talk about is the forward stroke. And this is the stroke that you're going to use for 90% of your paddling, and this is the one that's going to propel you forward. So we figured out this forward stroke, we're moving forward, but if you kind of noticed, if I keep paddling on the one side, I'm not going in a straight line anymore, I'm kind of going in a curve. So you may have to switch your grip, flip the paddle to the other side, and do a few strokes on the other side as well as you're paddling, just to balance out the strokes from side to side to keep that board going straight. One thing I didn't mention before is the closer you can keep the board or the paddle to the rail of the board and keep it as vertical as you can. So if the paddle's kind of on an angle to the side, you're actually going to generate a big moment arm along the center line and you're actually push the nose of the board to the side. So if you can get the paddle straight in and kind of keep it tucked right along the rail, it's going to keep you going straight, or I guess have less influence in your direction as you're paddling. All right, now that you got these couple tips and you kind of got these skills under your belt, enjoy the time on the water.